What's up, you guys? You know who it is. Taija T back for another video because it's Tuesday. Okay. Well, I had so many ideas of what I was gonna do for my third video. I just had all these ideas. I'm gonna do this, gonna do this, gonna do this. I was also looking for help on what to do. So I was asking people what to do, and I wanted to do some polls, and I want to do some Q&As, but you know, I need more subscribers. I need more people watching my videos. So I thought, you know what is a great way to talk to people? To start off, let's talk about racism. I just put too much emphasis in that. Racism. We're gonna be serious. Anywho, I was watching a video on Facebook. You guys don't understand how hard it is to look at like my phone camera and not look at myself. It's kind of really hard. You'll see my eyes move over. You see it? Yeah, you see it. Anywho, I was watching a video on Facebook. This white American, I'm guessing he's a proud United States American, wanted to talk about black culture problems as a white man. So I was watching the video and I was like, you know what? Instead of all those other things, I'm gonna do a reaction to this black culture problems. So let's see how this video goes. I'm trying to figure out how I can like show you guys and talk about at the same time. I don't know like what to use to like do that yet because I'm not all that YouTube skilled and stuff. So I've been using iMovie to do this, editing and stuff. But I'm just gonna play the video right now and just talk about some of the things that he talks about. I'm gonna post it at the end of me talking so you can like either agree or disagree with me or watch the video yourself, because I don't know if a lot of people have seen this. I mean, it got a lot of shares and likes and comments on Facebook, so it's probably a thing out there right now. But here we go.
African American communities in this nation are disproportionately failing, and it's not because of systemic racism, and it's not because of the lack of privilege. It's because there's problems within the culture. There's a cultural...
So, white people, no offense, but you already know we're failing, clearly. He says we're failing as a black culture. We're failing. I mean, which isn't necessary, not true. Like, I just said necessary. Which isn't really like not true, because as a black culture I do feel like there is a lot of failure within the culture itself, but there's a lot of failure in the white culture too that is basically the same, just maybe a smidge different, but it's sort of the same. Okay, but here you go.
Happening from within the black community that needs to be corrected. Why does 13% of the population, which is black, cause over 50% of the murders in this nation?
So 13% of the population is black. Are we sure it's 13%? I feel like it may be higher because white people are starting to feel like they're the minority.
Why does that happen? Why is the single parenthood rating in the black community upwards of 70%, significantly higher than any other ethnic group?
So 70% is single parent households for black people. It's at a rate of 70%, just so you guys know. Or as this man stated, it's 70%, which I'm sure he's probably looked up like percentages and stuff before he did this video, so he didn't sound dumb, because you know a lot of black people are gonna come right back at you, bro.
Is it that approximately 95% of all black homicides are committed by other black individuals?
95% of all black homicides are committed by other black people, which I definitely can see. I'm gonna say this, I am both white and black. I have other things mixed in me as well. So I do joke a lot about things that I say as being my white side or being my black side, because I've never been able myself to fit in to white side or onto a black side. Now, we also have to understand that a lot of people mix in mixed kids and mixed racial families into the black percentage. That percentage of mixed people aren't in the white percentage. They're in the black percentage as well, because we have a drop of black in us. So remember that, like back in the, I don't know, whatever, hundreds and thousands or whatever, that if you had even a drop of black in you, you were considered black. Whether a white man was your father or a white woman was your father, you're considered black, which is not right. So we're in the percentage of black. So these numbers technically could be wrong, because we have white in us as well. So why can't I be considered white just because I'm darker tone? There's a lot of white girls out here tanning to look like me, but they're considered white, even though they're basically the same color or darker or orange. They're orange. They're pretty much orange. Alright, but let's continue this.
Really easy to point the finger and say it's not my fault. It's systemic racism keeping us down. It's the fact that...
Okay. Not all black people point fingers. We do not point fingers at white privilege. We do not point fingers at the system, whatever. We point fingers for the racism. We point fingers for the racism. You want to know why racism is going on? Because there is white privilege. Because of the system. There are people in the system, in the government. Trump is part of this. He is racist. Trump is racist. So we point fingers at the right time. Trust me when I say there are black people in this world who say, yo, black people are killing black people as well. Yes, Black Lives Matter, and we understand your guys's, want to say all lives matter or whatever. But Black Lives Matter isn't just for the white people. It's for the black people as well. All black lives, my brother's lives, my sister's lives, our lives matter. Yes, it's for the white people, but it's to to make the black people come into a community so we can be stronger as one, not kill each other, so we can be stronger as one. I'm still looking at myself. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit conceited. All right, here we go.
Don't have privilege is the reason why we're not succeeding. No, that's not the reason you're not succeeding. It's the fact that you have some problems in your culture that are bringing your people down, and you need to correct them.
Every culture has problems. Every culture has problems. Black people are not the only ones with the main problems, okay? Yes, we kill each other. White people kill each other too. Indians kill each other too. Chinese kill each other too. But we're the main skin tone. We're the main culture that is being afflicted with this racism. We're the main culture that people are turning around on, spitting at us, that we've dealt with years and years of slavery and still haven't made it out. People still have the ignorance in their mind. All right, we'll keep going because I'm getting passionate. I'm getting very, very heated right now.
More racist now than it was in 1960 because all of these stats have greatly increased within the greatest time period of civil rights.
So I guess the stats have increased since the civil rights. Or were those stats made now and now we're seeing an increase? Because really, to be honest, did they make all these stats back then? No, because they didn't care about the black people. They didn't care about the homes and the community and the stuff that they were doing. So no, the stats, I don't believe that any historian really kept stats of all this single family homed and things. And plus, a single family home in slavery were because the men or the women or the children were getting taken away and sold into slavery. So I don't want to hear bullshit about that. Sorry, I cussed. Am I not supposed to cuss on YouTube?
The answer is no. We're not more racist now than it was in 1960, but for some reason...
Of course you're not more racist now since 1960. Clearly, because there's not segregation. But is racism still alive? Yes. So recognize that. Let's not de-recognize things. Let's recognize the problem so we can fix it.
We have more problems. These problems have nothing to do with racism and everything to do with the culture within the black community.
And that's a lie. This man just said these problems have nothing to do with racism, but the culture in the black community. Let me tell you this, sir. If a black person writes down his name, right? So, or even women, nowadays people are just writing their first initial, because if certain people see like it's a black name or a name that's hard to pronounce, you're less in the category to get hired. How do I say this? It's harder for you to get a job than it is for a white person with a normal name, or what people call a normal name, like David or John or something. But if it's like a Marquise, if they have a Marquise and a John, if you have a Marquise and a John, well, clearly Marquez, something, because that's probably how they'll pronounce it. They'll be like, is a black, and this man is white. Now let's look at all this extra stuff. Are they really looking at all the extra stuff? No, they're skimming through Marquises and they're like, well, I think John is a good fit. Like, let's be honest here. Let's really be honest here. You want to say that it's not because of the system and not because of racism? Maybe you need to go to your facts a little deeper, and maybe you need to really recognize things, because it still is. It still is. There are men out here who work day and night to feed their families and who are fathers, and they try so hard. A black man can get pulled over just from driving. He can be with his family. Clearly, there's been men out there who's gotten shot with his family, in front of his family, just because he was a black man and he wasn't doing nothing. So you want to say it's not because of the system and it's not because of racism? Then you are wrong and you're still ignorant. Let's continue this.
More specifically, what I want to attribute all these problems to, or a majority of these problems to, is the music that this culture produces.
Now this man wants to bring up the music. He wants to bring up black music. Remind you, there are white people listening to black music as well, and I don't see them going out and doing all this stuff. It's from the people that these boys are raised from. It's not just from the music. People can listen to music like, okay, kids shooting. The shootings of the kids who are shooting up schools, they say it's because of the music that they listen to. It's your choice. It's your upbringing. It is the thing that you decided in your head that you're gonna do, so take responsibility. Stop blaming it on music. These people are just making money. They're just putting it out there to make money. It's what people like listening to. It's not like they're telling them, yo, go do this, go kill this person, go to this house, sell your women, go do this. Yes, this music is provocative, and yes, some of it is a little slandering towards women, and there are drugs, and there are money and stuff in it, and you know, everybody wants to have money. Everybody wants to be rich, because everybody is poor in this world. Even the top 1%, like, they pay lower taxes than us. Like, come on now. Wake up. For real. And continue this.
Culture produces. It's undeniable that one of the biggest influencers in our society today is the music industry. So black music, or music that is predominant.
First of all, let me just say, this white boy looks like he listens to black music. Are you about to go shoot up, sweetie? Are you about to go do some drugs and sell them for some money? Are you about to slander women? Because you look like you probably listen to black music as well. You probably like Eminem. Which, no beef against Eminem, because he's cool as shit.
Listened to and produced by the black community, promotes the objectification of women, the selling and trafficking of drugs, and
promotes the I'm having a word spasm. I have these often. I have word spasms. But basically, like, putting women down. Let me tell you this. There are cultures in this world who sell women without listening to any type of music, who talk about selling women. Okay? There are cultures in this world where women put themselves into selling themselves because that is the only way that they can survive and live. And men live off this. Men have always sexually objectified women. Okay? It's not because of the music now that these boys want to be F-boys and go off and have sex and have babies with all these different women. No, this has been a thing in our world for the longest. Even when slavery was alive, you white masters used to rape and kill black women. Used to rape and kill black women. Were they listening to music about raping and killing black women? No, they were listening to like Beethoven shit. So, Come on now. You gonna blame it on music? No, you have a choice.
So gang violence as well as gun violence. You don't believe me? Let me just quote some of the most popular.
Gang violence. Let's talk about this. Yo, y'all who are in gangs, whatever, like, I understand it to a point. But at some point, you guys need to understand that this needs to come to an end. But there have been gangs like freaking Capone. There have been gangs throughout our whole lives. Music is not creating gangs. Yeah, you know, like they may talk about Bloods and Crips and all of that stuff and, you know, whatever. But then it's like the opposite group is also listening to those songs, to be honest. As a Crip, you may be listening to a song from a dude who's in the Bloods and you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. Because really, you don't have access to everybody who's in the Blood gang or who's in the Crip gang or who's in this gang and who's in this gang. You're just listening to music. As a young black man, just listening to music, you're not like looking up all this stuff like, oh, is this person in the gang? Is this person doing this? Like, no, you're not. You're just vibing to your music. You cooling. Doing what you want to do. But it's the way that you guys are raised. You're raised by men who are in those gangs. Or because you don't feel like you have a family to go home to. Or even to help your family out. A lot of boys sell weed and sell drugs to help out their family because they can't get a job. Because there's those higher men, those CEOs who are white, who will look at your name and put your application in the freaking garbage. So that's what they have to do.
If a nigga wants static, let him have it. Have you ever seen a mini semi?
So now he's basically just quoting like A Boogie. If a N wants static, he can have it. Have you ever seen a mini automatic? Okay, A Boogie, he do what he did, okay? But he's not telling you go out and shoot people. Like, he's not saying, yo, go shoot this dude's house. No, you listen to his music, you cool with it. There are girls who sing this music. These girls aren't going out shooting people. There are white people who listen to this music. Those white people aren't going out shooting people. Like, come on now, don't blame it on the music. It's a point blank period. Don't blame it on the music for your actions. Or for black culture problems.
Matic. A Boogie with the hoodie.
Alright, he just quoting some music with the
When you're teaching your communities that being hard, selling drugs, and shooting individuals with guns is the cool thing to do, you end up destroying.
Okay, so now he's talking about teaching our community that the cool things are to do are to sell drugs and to go shoot people. Our community don't need music to see that that's cool. And it's not cool. And to be honest, you people, you know it's not cool. Like, the people who do that know it's not cool. You guys know that. Like, yeah, you're with your friends. Yeah, you're with your gang or whatever, and you're shooting people. But they do it for a reason. They do blood for blood. It's not because it's cool. Yo, I'm just about to go out and ride and shoot somebody. No, it's because they have a problem with someone else, and that person gave blood to their family, so they're about to go give blood to their family. It's not because it's cool. They're not selling drugs because it's cool. They're selling drugs because they need the money. Or because they want more money. And they already have money. And some of you guys out there selling drugs for money or whatever, you're doing it the wrong ways, okay? Don't spend your money on dumb stuff. Y'all all want to say you want to make your mama out the hood. Then do that. Make that your focus. Get your mama out the hood. Don't go buy you a new car. Don't go buy your friends a new car. Don't go buying a whole bunch of other stuff because you being dumb with your money. You want your mama out your hood? You want your family out your hood? You want your daughter out your hood? Right? Right?
Communities with drugs, with gun violence. Be hard.
Let me also say this. Let me say this real quick. Because the government introduced drugs into this world. Some of those man-made drugs or whatever was from the government to try to control people and put them into poverty so they didn't have to take care of them. Okay, all those houses, if you guys ever been to Chicago, you've been to Atlanta, like all those big cities that have those big poverty places, they put them in that area so they can keep a control and an eye on them. The government introduced drugs to control the population, to control people. Weed is a plant. Weed is a plant. Someone probably lit it on fire and was like, yo, I feel good. But all these man-made, handmaids, like, those are chemicals. Those are chemicals. You really think that there were people back then like, I'm about to go buy this chemical from the store and buy this chemical from the store and put it together and make this? No, they tested on humans to see what it would do and how it would make them act. Friggin' government put that in the system. They introduced drugs. They gave it. How do you think that all these gang lords like Capone and who else was I just watching? I was watching somebody else. How do you think they got by through the government, or they got drugs from Mexico to the United States? Because they were paying government officials to put drugs from one area to another area, and they were doing that. And they were okay with this. So no, it isn't just about our black culture or any type of culture. The government is part of this. So take responsibility.
Raise your goddamn kids. Children that don't grow up with their fathers are 5 times more likely to end up poor, 9 times more likely to drop out of school.
So children who grow up without their fathers are 5 times more likely to grow up poor, 9 times more likely to drop out of school. I didn't grow up without a father. My father has been in and out of prison my whole life. And my mom did everything in her power to make sure that my brother had a male figure in his life. Had a male figure through basketball, through football, through anything that he wanted to do. Made sure that he had a male figure in his life. These kids aren't just dropping out of school because they don't have a father in their life. These kids aren't just poor because they don't have a father in their life. It's choices. It's everything. There's bullying in this world. These kids feel alone. Kids have mothers and fathers both in their life, and they go up and shoot schools. Kids have mothers and fathers in their life, and they decide to become drug addicts. It is not because you are missing 1 or 2 parents. There are other things that include in that circle. Don't blame it on these men for not being fathers in a children's life. You know what? Some people, their fathers die, and a mother just can't take care of it. But yes, there are men in this world who are bums. There are men who will get a woman pregnant and not take responsibility. But like, there are men in this world who don't take care of their children, who don't do this. And you know what? You can only blame them. You can only blame them. They get women pregnant and they don't care for women. And it is so easy for a man to get up and leave a woman than it is for a woman to get up and leave her child. Like, it's not the men. There are white men out here who do the same thing. They get women pregnant and they leave them, or they have multiple baby mamas. And they think that like what? It's all about a family base. It's all about what you grow up into. Let's continue.
20 times more likely to develop behavioral disorders, and 20 times more likely to end up in jail. So now that
20 times more likely to end up in jail if you grow up without a father. As a black person, I guess. I'm sorry, I need to stop looking at myself. 20 times more likely. Because you want to know why? You don't have a father. And your mom is struggling. So you go and you join these gangs and you join this family, or what you call a family, and you sell weed to make money, to help you out and to make you feel good and to help your family out. So that's why you end up in jail. That's what puts our black men in jail. Because you know what? There's also a harder police system on black men than there is white men. And even white men know it. Like that one dude, I don't know if you guys saw the video, but there was a white man in an airport and these police got him for some reason. And he even said, "Why are you treating me like a black person?" So come on now. Who's awake?
Next generation in the community has to grow up with more problems because the choices that parents make, but also the influencers within their ethnic group. So statistically, you can see why there's problems within the black community that aren't related to some racist government. It's all...
He's saying there are problems. And you know what? There are. I agree with that. There are problems within our black community that don't have to do with racism. There are problems in our black community that don't have to deal with white people or the government or anything. And that's only for us to figure out, and that is for us to deal with. And you know what? There have been a lot of people, black people, trying to figure that out. And there have been a lot of black people trying to deal with that and trying to make a better community for where they live or who they live. But you know who makes it harder? The government, white people, racism. You make it harder. So we have to work 6 times, 10 times, 100 times harder than any white person. A white girl going to college works less than a black girl going to college because she already knows that she has to make sure her grades are on point. She has to make sure that there's money coming in, because I bet you that white girl is not going to get a notice saying that her bills are past due maybe 10 days after. It might take some time. They'll send a notice eventually. But that black girl, the minute her bills aren't paid, it's, yo, we need that money. I'm just saying. Just saying. There are black people out here who are looking to fix our issues. But it doesn't just take those groups of people. It takes yourself. You as a black person, if you are watching this, you need to figure out what you need to do for yourself and for your community. Maybe you've grown up in the hood and your mama's struggling or your daddy's struggling or your sister's struggling. Make a change. Don't just think that, or even as a black man, don't just think selling drugs is going to help you out. It's going to help your family out. Yes, it's quick, fast, easy money. But in the long run, if you end up in jail or you end up dead, who is that hurting? That's hurting your family even more. Hurting them even more because now they have no income. Or now they have less income. Or now they have to worry about you. They have to worry about putting money on your books and the food that you're about to eat. Or coming to visit you. There are people who waste hundreds of dollars to go visit their family members in jail. When really you could be at home with a job. Let me tell you, I work 2 jobs to pay my rent right now. I walk back and forth to both those jobs. And both those jobs are within 6 blocks of me. But I'm still walking. Rain, snow, sleet, heat. Unless my boss is like, yo, today you don't got to come in or you can come in later. I'm walking to work. And there's even men there. Yesterday, a black man came. He's like, oh, well, I walk to work, so that's my excuse. I told him, no, that is not your excuse. I leave my house 20 minutes early every time so I can make it to work on time. So you have no excuse. If a girl can do it, you can do it. So don't ever put an excuse towards it. Let's see if he has anything else to say.
Internal. It's all coming from within. And you see how the next generation is going to suffer.
Now he wants to talk about generations and internally. We have been raised like this our whole lives, you guys. Through slavery. We have been raised like this. You know what? In Africa, they have communities. They had the huts and they had everything. But even black people in Africa were selling black people for goods, for money, for trade. This has been a thing our entire lives. So don't say that the generations now are messing up things, because this has been from back to the 1900s, back to the 1800s, back to the 1700s, all of that. This has been a thing. This is not just now. This is not just the generations to come. This is not just our parents or us. This has been created by white man as well, who took those fathers away, who took those mothers away. But he took those families, and those families got torn apart and ripped and beat and killed. So don't ever just put it on black people. And don't say it's just our black culture issues. Because yes, we have issues, but you want to know who makes it harder on us? The system, racism, white people, ourselves. We have so much that we are fighting through. We also get all those mental issues. So the white people who just want to be like, oh, well, the kid who shot up the school, it's because he's insane, right? Just because he has those mental issues. Yet he is a father and a mother. Oh, and then you want to blame it on the music as well. So not only do we have the lack of a parent, the system against us, police against us, our presidents against us, racism, white people, the mental issues, the music, ourselves. We deal with so much more. And white people don't want to recognize that they have a privilege. They have a white privilege. You do. You do. You have a white privilege. If you're not going to the store and being stalked or being followed, you have a white privilege. If you're not worried, not even one day worried about what you're going to eat, where you might sleep, anything, you have a white privilege. Or how you're going to get to and from someplace. Yes, everybody has legs. Yes, everybody can walk. But you're in a comfort zone. You know your mom's going to wake up in the morning, hey, Billy, let me make you some breakfast. And you know she's going to drive you to school. You have a white privilege. There are kids who walk hours to get on the bus, who walk hours to go to school, who wake up at 5 in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, while you're still asleep in bed. So all you white people who think there isn't white privilege, or who don't recognize the racism, or who say, let's just all be friends and forget the racism because, you know, it just shouldn't exist in this world anymore. Like, come on now. Just don't be racist. And don't use the excuse, well, I have black friends, so I'm not racist. Honey, just because you have black friend doesn't mean that you can't be racist. It doesn't mean that when you're around your white friends and your white friends say something racist that you're saying something. Because if you're sitting there around your white friends and any of your white friends say anything racist about a black person, I bet you'll keep your mouth shut. So that makes you associated. Or you'll even laugh about it, probably. And you won't think about those black friends that you have, or your black boyfriend, or black girlfriend. Alright, y'all. This has been 33 minutes long. I need to stop it here because obviously I got heated about this. I'm going to post a video at the end, so this video might be a little longer, but... Or I might have to make a part 2 to it because it's a long video. So yeah. Bye!
Systemic racism keeping us down. It's the fact that we don't have privilege is the reason why we're not succeeding. No, that's not the reason you're not succeeding. It's the fact that you have some problems in your culture that are bringing your people down and you need to correct them. Was America more racist now than it was in 1960? Because all of these stats have greatly increased within the greatest time period for civil rights. The answer is no. We're not more racist now than it was in 1960, but for some reason we have more problems. These problems have nothing to do with racism and everything to do with the culture within the black community. And more specifically, what I want to attribute all these problems to, or a majority of these problems to, is the music that this culture produces, that the black culture produces. It's undeniable that one of the biggest influencers in our society today is the music industry. So black music, or music that is predominantly listened to and produced by the black community, promotes the objectification of women, the selling and trafficking of drugs, and also gang violence as well as gun violence. You don't believe me? Let me just quote some of the most popular songs. If a nigga wants static, let him have it. Have you ever seen a mini semi-automatic? A boogie with the hoodie. Everyone screaming fuck WestJet. Lil Pump still sell that meth. Little Pump. Fucking on your bitch, she a thought. Cooking up dope in the crock pot. Migos. When you're teaching your communities that being hard, selling drugs, and shooting individuals with guns is the cool thing to do, you end up destroying your communities with drugs, with gun violence, and you end up having a good portion of your population in prison. And when you're in prison because you wanted to be hard, who's there to raise your goddamn kids? Children that don't grow up with their fathers are 5 times more likely to end up poor, 9 times more likely to drop out of school, 20 times more likely to develop behavioral disorders, and 20 times more likely to end up in jail. So now the next generation in the community has to grow up with more problems because the choices their parents make, but also the influencers within their ethnic group. So statistically, you can see why there's problems within the black community that aren't related to some racist government. It's all internal. It's all coming from within. And you can see how the next generation is going to suffer because when these kids grow up with all these problems, they become adults. They have kids and they pass down those problems and those ideas, those belief systems. So now we know where the problem is coming from, and the only way to correct it now is to not play into the idea that the government is racist or there's something called white privilege, because it doesn't exist, and take individual responsibility for our children and our communities. That's how you do it. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoy my content. If you